go over with you today a little bit different about what is going on in real estate. Let me preface this by saying I am not a licensed attorney, so if you have any questions, of course, reach out to legal counsel. I'm just going to go over from my perspective what is going on and the changes you will see nationwide starting August 1st to 17th. Some local MLSs are starting it August 1st. Nationwide, it has to be implemented by August 17th. Random, it's a weekend, but that is just what it is. So as a buyer, you will now have a threshold rule, if you will. In order for any buyer's agent or any realtor to walk you across the threshold of a home, you will have to have a buyer's agency agreement signed of some sort. Ohio Realtors put out 10 different versions of the buyer's agency agreement. Ultimately, there's two different ones, exclusive and non-exclusive. Exclusive meaning you're going to work with me, only me. I'm going to be your go-to gal. And non-exclusive means you can work with multiple agents. So the caveat to that is you could end up paying multiple buyer's agents commissions. So you're going to want to be careful, right? So a lot of this is going to be education and knowledge that you as buyers will need, because you're going to be committing to somebody that you're going to work with them or pay them in some fashion. So you want to make sure that you don't close on a property and now you owe 4 different realtors because you talked to 4 different realtors all about the same home, right? So make sure you're working with an agent who goes over these documents with you. So whenever we meet, we should be getting the consumer guide signed. That tells you the different kinds of agency our office allows. Now at my company, we offer buyer's agency. I work for the buyer only. Seller's agency. I work for the seller only. Dual agency, where I'm the only agent involved and I help both parties. I don't advocate or negotiate on either one's behalf. I'm more of a meeting of the minds person in the middle. So we also work with any other brokerages, any other signs that are up for sale by owners, whoever. I can help you cross those thresholds, right? So threshold meaning doorway, whatever you want to say. So now on top of that form, we're going to have one of these 2 forms signed. So you either have non-exclusive or exclusive, right? So again, I talked about exclusive means I'm your gal. We're only working with each other. You're not going to call anybody else. You're only going to call me. That's my preferred. That should be your preferred, right? So, and if it's not me, pick one. However, there are some people who don't want to tie themselves down with one. I get it. So there's all sorts of different relationships, right? And this is just kind of goes in with that. So what these forms tell you is that you're going to be committing to me as an agent as well as the brokerage. So let's say you sign one of these, your agent may leave the brokerage. This is tied to the brokerage. So you will be delegated to a new agent. Your agent may not be leaving the company. It's just a just in caser, right? So term, this could be 24 hours. This could be 6 months. I typically don't just list a house for 24 hours. Why would I just help a buyer for 24 hours? But again, this has to be agreed upon by both parties. What I'm going to do, I'm going to help you. I'm going to exercise reasonable skill and care. I'm going to perform any written agency agreements that I need to, any terms of any agency agreements. I'm going to follow the law. That should just be common sense, right? So I'm going to be loyal to the interest of you. I'm going to comply with any Ohio licensing law. This is just a snippet. I'll go over this in depth more at a buyer's consult. Disclose anything I know. If the seller tells me there's a hole in the roof, I'm going to tell you there's a hole in the roof, right? I'm going to help you get any expert matter. I'm going to help you with lenders. I'm going to help you with home inspectors. Now, again, I can't just give you one, but I'm going to give you a few of my favorite, because we have to give 3. So I'm going to give you at least a few of my favorite, or those who are licensed in the state of Ohio, because that's just the right thing to do, again. And then I'm going to keep everything in a timely manner. I'm going to make sure your earnest monies are collected in a timely manner. And anything we do in contracts, we're going to do in a timely fashion, right? This also advises you of contemporaneous offers. This means I could be working with multiple buyers looking at the same properties. I can't survive off of one client at a time. I know a lot of people think that. That's not how real estate works. We have to work with multiple people going through multiple transactions at the same time. I have to notify you in writing if multiple of my buyers want to write on the same property. You then have the option to say yes or no. This is not telling you it's happening. It's just telling you it could be happening. And then dual agency. On these buyer's agents agreements that the state has provided, we ask you, are you okay with dual agency? As a buyer, will you work with me as a buyer's agent if I'm also working with the seller? Now, I go over this at listings with my sellers, and if they say no, I'll refer out any buyers to any agents in my office to show them the property. Some sellers are like, you're never showing my home. Well, because you don't want me to be a dual agent. So this is the same as that. However, I would have to delegate you as a buyer to a new agent in my office because I already have that listing. So we're going to delegate you. You can come back if the deal doesn't work out, all that kind of stuff. Duties of the buyer. So what you're signing with the Ohio one, which there's a lot in there. So non-exclusive, you're signing, you could be with multiple people. Exclusive, you're signing, you're just with me. But what it's also stating is that you're agreeing not to record, take video, photos of any property without written permission from the seller. Sellers don't want to see their houses on Facebook in a negative light because you find something amusing or humorous or gross or whatever. So don't do that. You could find yourself in a heap of trouble, as well as your agent. It's also letting you, sellers may have video or audio surveillance in the property, and be aware. So anything you say in the home can and will be used against you. If you say, oh, I pay over full price, or this house is junk, the seller's going to hear it. So make sure you're mindful of that. Your agent should have already been told you, Lord, the agent should have already been telling you that. So another thing, you're assigning that you have not entered into any other agreements with another agent. So again, you may be responsible for multiple agents' payments. So I see Kyle's on here as well as Rob. So let's say you call me, I walk you through the property. Then you decide, after you look with me and you've signed this with me, that you're gonna call Kyle and you're gonna get some questions about my property, and he's gonna walk you through the property, he gets this signed. Then Rob, you decide, okay, we're gonna move on to Rob. You call Rob, talk to Rob, cross the threshold, sign this. Now you might be paying 3 buyer's agent commissions on the same property. So this is gonna get confusing before it gets better, but trust me, I do think there is some valid points as to what had happened. So, combined commissions, we are spelling out commissions ahead of time. It is going to be imperative that you talk with your lender and find out how in the world you're going to get financed, what you need down. Is your lender counting agents' commissions for the buyer as a seller's concession? This is where things are going to get sticky, right? VA, props to VA, they changed right away. They will allow buyers in VA to pay their buyer's agent commission. So some of the other loan products are not allowing that. So if you needed seller's concessions for helping pay closing costs, you could either be choosing to pay your realtor, or you could be choosing to get closing costs and your realtor's got to work for free. Don't know about you, but I don't know how any of us are going to afford to pay our bills if we're not getting compensated. I wouldn't ask you to go to work for a month and then not take a paycheck. I don't think you would expect that of me. But again, we are spelling this out up front. So it's going, sorry, my phone's buzzing. So we're gonna talk about how we're gonna get compensated. This is scary for some buyers because in their mind, they've kind of been spinning the wheel of sellers have been paying it, buyers think they've been paying it. It's kind of a chicken or the egg, right? Yes, it comes from the seller's proceeds, but without the buyer's money, did they have the proceeds? So we're not gonna get into that. The settlement's the settlement, and that is just what it is. So we're learning, we're moving on, and we're moving forward. So you're going to be offering compensation to your agent. There is no commission is set, right? It's always been fully negotiable. Anybody can negotiate. We negotiate on the prices of homes all the time, on the contents of the home, on anything. We've always been negotiable, nothing set. So you're also going to agree to that you understand that. And then if you decide like, hey, I'm going to try to skirt around my agent, let that listing expire, go around them, we are protected for an additional so many days if you choose to do that. We are not going to collect a non-refundable retainer to work for you at our office. I'm in charge of the accounts, and quite frankly, that's just too much for me to want to deal with. So we're not doing that right now. Things may change. I don't know, but currently no. Consent to delegation, what that means is I can assign you to a different agent. I have to notify you ahead of time. So if I'm gonna refer you to another agent in my office, maybe I'm out of town, maybe I'm sick, maybe something happened, I can't show you a property. We know real estate is you gotta go or else the house could be gone. I'd say, hey, another agent from my office is meeting you. This is the agent. You can then say yes or no, right? You can't say, no, I don't wanna do this anymore. I want a different company. No, you can just say, no, I don't want that agent for whatever particular reason. Is there somebody else you can assign me to? And again, it could just be for right now. It could be for the duration of the buyer's agent agreement, but it happens. We help each other out to get you into the homes so that way we don't lose out based on timing. It also tells you that, did I skip a page? Dispute resolution. Okay, I did. So professional advice and assistance. While I have a ton of knowledge, I am not an expert in areas of tax, construction. I'm not an attorney, so anything like that. I'm not a licensed home inspector. So anything that could come up along those ways, I'm going to give you the best knowledge I have from my 24 years of experience, but I'm still going to recommend professionals to you to do their jobs that they're professionals in. Dispute resolution, if something happens and we need to go to court, you're going to try to arbitrate with me first before we go to court, which I think we see that quite a bit. And then property condition, I'm going to tell you the property condition as I see it, but again, I'm going by what the sellers told me, what I see on the disclosures, what I can visually see with my eyes. We can't pull off siding, we can't tear out drywall, I can't take out the shower, insert that kind of stuff. So entire agreement, once you've read this entire agreement, we understand that it will be legally binding. Fair housing, all I care about is the color of money. As long as you can afford to buy a house, I'm going to show you said house. I don't care about anything else. Wire fraud, this was another form that we used to have signed. Wire fraud, we as realtors never give wire instructions. If you ever get wire instructions from your realtor, be like, hey, I think you've been hacked. They're not going to give you wire instructions. Same as if you get something from the title company that says, hey, change of wire instructions. They're not changing their wire instructions. You know how hard that would be? We don't want you to send your money to some off-seas account on accident unless that's your choice and you want to. So make sure you wear wire fraud as well. And then again, you will sign to this. Now, can this be amended? Yes, right? So if you decide that, hey, we started off our contract for a shorter period, you really like me, let's extend that, we can do that. If for some reason you and I working together is just not good, like we look at the phone and you're like, oh, Alex is calling, or I'm like, oh, so-and-so's calling, I just don't want to do it, we can terminate the agreement. Maybe some companies won't allow that, but if we just cannot get it together, you know, of course I'm going to try to give you to somebody else in the office first who'll take care of you. Hey, Tim, but I'm going to make sure that why are we going to stress each other out if we don't get along, right? Buying a home is stressful. Selling a home is stressful. And if we don't get along from the beginning, 6 months from now, we're probably definitely not going to get along. So that is the short snippet of these agreements. So again, as a buyer's agent, I would recommend we sit down and go through this. Now, of course, in vacation land, everybody's so instant gratification. I'm at the corner, I want to see this house, can I get into it right now? Sometimes we can do that, but I'm going to be letting you know over the phone or sending you this video that this is going to be what I'm going to have to discuss and get signed on the hood of the car before we can cross the threshold. This is not just my company. This is not just the state of Ohio. This is everywhere across the United States this is taking place. So I know some people are thinking they're just picking on us, it's our area. No, it's everybody. This is ultimately to protect you as a consumer so you know what you're getting into, you know what you're paying, you understand how we're being paid. So that's it in a nutshell, but it is so much more than that, right? So if you have any questions at all, Alex Morgan Johnson, Weichert Realtors, Morgan Realty Group. Enjoy the sunshine today. Summer is flying by. Next week, I'll have a July recap. So thank you so much and have a great day.